Alrighty, back again. Day number 12. Got day number 11 right over here for you. So Jimmy Cliff, The Harder They Come soundtrack. Definitely got some good comments. Man, I was listening to it all day. It was really good. Today I'm going to talk about a pretty awesome album. This is going to be another lengthy one like the Bob Dylan Desire, because it's definitely, again, another personal album, I guess, kind of like Desire was. So I'm going to talk about The Velvet Underground and Nico. Ooh, that's right. It took me 12 days to come up with this album, but no, it was definitely a day. I was walking around. I walked to the post office. I put some records in the mail for people, so keep the eye to the sky. Oh wait. I'm gonna show you this one. No. There you go. That's right. I have an original gangster right there. Somebody already peeled slowly and saw on this one. It's the second pressing with the big sticker across the back covering up the guy. So that's right. I have the OG. So I've only seen two of these in real life before. One of them was in the Andy Warhol Museum, which is in Pittsburgh, and the other one is right here. So kind of one of those things, albums that have been on the top of my holy grail list for pretty much forever, kind of. It was one of those ones that I never thought I'd ever find, but of course when you're record shopping, you're always kind of keeping an eye out for those particular albums. But that's right. Here it is in all its glory. It's a stereo copy, so it's about second pressing or so. But a couple of things I wanted to talk about this album. If you've not heard of this album, you've probably been in a cave for the last, I don't know how many years, if you're not really too familiar with it. But of course, the Velvet Underground is produced by Andy Warhol, which I think that was kind of a pretty loose term, because I don't actually think, I guess it's hard to say how much that he really did help out with this and all that. But I think Tom Wilson, who it's originally produced by, I think that's probably the real producer, which I think he was involved with Dylan. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the earlier Dylan albums before Bob Johnston kind of took over, but I may be wrong with that for some reason. For some reason I'm thinking that. I don't know, but I believe it is. But this, of course, is on Verve. Came out in 1967. It's kind of funny because it's really one of those albums that just took a long time for, I think, people to really understand. And when I think about the 60s, and I think, oh man, I'd have Love Forever Changes, the Grateful Dead's first album, like, that really wasn't how it was, unless you were really, down in it. A lot of people really didn't have all these albums at one time. And I think even kind of talking to my father about it one time, he said he didn't even know who the Velvet Underground was. So, which is, I mean, he knew who Andy Warhol was. I think he knew who Lou Reed was, but he never really knew them as a band, I guess, per se. So, but that's one person's take. It may be completely different for somebody else. So, really cool stuff. One big thing about this album, just a fantastic album. Starts off with Sunday Morning, which on my walk to the post office today, I was playing this and it was just so good. It was just kind of very poetic, I guess. So, but I guess how I discovered this album was through the Doors Oliver Stone movie soundtrack. I was really obsessed with the Doors, I guess, kind of when I was maybe about 16 years old, something like that, 15, 16 years old. And I watched the Oliver Stone movie, and there's like a party sequence, I think, and they're listening to this album, and I was like, oh my God, what is it? And it's Heroin is what they're playing. And I kind of went and I was like, oh, I need to go check out this band. So I went and sort of dug up what I could. Of course, this is early days of the internet, so just kind of finding out websites, these just very primitive put together websites about the band and all that, fan sites. And I searched them out, and one day I found the album, and it's definitely one of those albums like, there was definitely a period in my life before the Velvet Underground and after the Velvet Underground. So, but I mean, when I found this album, it made so much sense to me. It was just crazy. Crazy the music that I heard on it. It was so many different styles, and Nico was just strange, and of course the song Heroin. I was just like, oh my God, like it's just, I I think, in later years, when I was in my early 20s and all that, and kind of the people that I've always associated with, I've always tried to hang out with like creative people, musicians and artists, and drug people and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just like, those are just, to me, those are people that have very interesting stories, and like you hear them in this, you know what I mean? It's like those, and it's weird because I think that album did it to me, where it was like, I kind of felt like, there's kind of more to life, but those type of stories and those kind of people always seem to be very, very interesting, and I don't know, it's just strange. I mean, it's, it really, I think this album, really kind of reflects. I listen to it. I mean, it's an album that I just, every year I probably just listen to it for like a month straight. But just, I don't know. It spoke to me on such a higher level. I mean, it seems so cliche to say that, but it really did. Like I learned a lot about music. I learned a lot about a band, and just like politics in a band. And when you have two people that are very, very creative, like you think about John Cale and Lou Reed being together in the same band, and these guys are just very, very, very creative people, and like you could only imagine like just how they would just have to kind of put everything aside to actually just kind of to get through it, and to put an album out, and just it's interesting, because when you're creative, and when you're trying to create something, it's very easy to do that by yourself, but to do it with two people, to have people kind of meet on a higher level. And it's kind of like with the Beatles, like people talk about, of course the Beatles were never the sum of their parts. I mean, you think about their solo stuff compared to their albums, like their solo albums are pretty patchy. I mean, there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the solo stuff, it was kind of patchy. I think you kind of need to have somebody that to keep you in check. But this album, just Sunday Morning, Waiting for My Man, just you listen to a song like that, and then you realize what the song is about, and it's just it's absolutely mind blowing. It opens up like a whole other world to what's really going on, and like I said, I mean, there's a lot of albums that I feel that have done that for me, but not as much as the Velvet Underground. And we kind of joke, my wife and I kind of joke about this, because this is sort of like, she went to school for art and stuff like that, since she's an artist, and she's got everything she needs. She's an artist. She don't look back. But it's sort of like, this is where we sort of both meet at this album, which is really weird, because I think this is sort of, to me, it's like this is kind of the, this is the top for music for me. And it's just like, Andy Warhol, of course, just with pop culture and things like that, being the icon that he is, and in everybody's mind, everybody knows who Andy Warhol is. If you can say who, what's one artist that everybody knows who Andy Warhol is. So it's like, when we were first dating, we kind of, I kind of joked that this is sort of where, we met, was like on this album, because it's a combination of both the things that we love. You have art, and then you also have the music, and the music is very colorful as well too. So I think, I don't know, the debut, I think this is a pretty awesome debut if you think about it. Of course, a lot of them, Lou Reed had been playing music before, but All Tomorrow's Parties, it paints a very, very apocalyptic sort of, it's weird that Sunday Morning leads off the album, because it's like, there's many times that, when I was waking up Sunday morning, and I would either play that song or I'd think about that song, and it just really makes sense. It's just, after just a complete, lost couple of days, and you just sort of, you're reflecting, Sunday morning brings the dawning, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, this album is just, it's, again, words cannot describe. This is just yet another one. Fantastic album. If it's not already in your collection, which usually, I would say if you're watching my channel, more than likely this is probably in your collection already, but just fantastic album. So, alright folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.